Hi everyone, it's been just over a week since the Allergy Free From Show in London, and I thought I'd give you a quick summary of my experiences there this year. Now, I was actually working at the show this year. I was helping out my friend Isabel on her stand. Isabel you may know from the gluten-free pizza-based mixes, and she also does a variety of other savoury make-at-home mixes. So I was really honoured to be able to help her out because I really like the products. So do check out her website, isabelsfreefrom.co.uk. So for those of you who don't know what exactly is the Allergy Show, well, imagine a giant free-from playground, except you get to eat loads of food. Basically, all these different free-from and allergy producers, they pay to get a stand there, and then they show their products. So it's a really great way of being introduced to a lot of different products that are not normally found in the supermarkets, because so many of the smaller producers are just selling online now. So I think tickets are free, and you go there and stuff your face, basically. Now, I was there last year, and I did have a couple of criticisms with the way the show was run. They mostly revolved around not really having enough space, so the aisles were small and really narrow, and people were getting stuck there. And I was really pleased to see that the Allergy Show had done a great job on addressing these problems. Although there were a lot of people there, there wasn't this kind of backlog and people getting stuck and people in wheelchairs not being able to pass, and that sort of atmosphere there was last year. So really good job to the Allergy Show producers on that one. It was great that there was a bigger hall, because it meant that there could be more producers and stands there. So I think there were over 200 people, 200 exhibitors there, way more than 200 people there. Another great thing to note was that there seemed to be fewer people coming in just for the free food. Last year we seemed to have loads of local people who just came in to grab as much food in their mouths as possible and then run away. Which is kind of, when you're on a stall, it's a little bit demoralising. But this year we didn't really have much of that, and most of the people were either allergy sufferers themselves, or celiacs, or people with intolerances, or they had children, so they were shopping for them. A lot of them left their allergic children behind, which may not necessarily have been such a bad thing. But it was really nice that there was a good atmosphere. Last year I encountered quite a lot of rudeness from people, and this year people were on the whole very, very friendly and polite. Now, speaking of supermarkets and the big manufacturers, it was kind of a shame in some ways that it was obviously a commercial event. You know, they're not doing this out of the goodness of their hearts because of poor little allergy sufferers. They're doing this to make money, and so it was very, very obvious who had spent quite a lot of money on having their stand there. I mean, there were the massive ones. So Udi's had a great big stall. Who else? Illumi had a big stall. The supermarkets, Alders, Sainsbury's had their sort of kitchen demonstration section again. And then you look at the little stalls, which are affordable for the very small producers, and you're crammed into this little area. So I think it is out of the reach of many companies, and that's a shame, because it means that these people don't even get their product out there. But on the other hand, I do understand that the motive is to make money primarily. But one thing I did notice was that the bigger companies, they had so much in terms of decoration. You know, Udi's had this little space that you could wander in. But the products that the bigger companies are producing are not necessarily better than the products that the small producers are doing. So it's kind of a shame that they're getting all the limelight just because they have more money to throw at the event. I didn't have a lot of time to wander around the stores because it was absolutely manic, and it was great because I like that Isabel's is a very popular stand. But I did get to talk to a few people, although not as many as I would have liked. My one sample that sticks in my mind was the stand at 123 Gluten-free, which is a really naff name, I'm sorry, but the cake was honestly the best gluten-free cake I've ever had, and I think it may be the best cake I've ever had in my life. So they're an American company, and they do a range of cake mixes, and I was just like, I'm going to try the brownie, and I'm going to try the pound cake and the ginger cake. It was absolutely lovely, and it's run by, it's an American company, so they are starting to try and sell their products over here in Europe now, so they should be available within the year from the UK and the rest of Europe. So they were my absolute favourites, someone that I'd never tried before, and they really stuck in my mind. Another brand that I really liked were Feel Free for Gluten-free. Now I actually have a whole stack of pasta to review, so I'll be doing that review later on. But as I was walking from the storeroom back to the Isabel stand, they had those little pie samples, and I thought I'll just take a sneaky bit of pie. I think it was chicken and mushroom or beef and mushroom or something like that. And I sort of ran away apologising to them. And I was like, oh, this is really good. So I really enjoyed their pies, and look out for my later post when I do a full review of the brand, because I really like their pastas too, and the people who run them are lovely. Now, in the interests of full disclosure, I feel like I should tell you what I actually bought with my own money rather than being given samples. Now, it's actually not as much as you'd think, because I like to use the show to do research and then buy online at a later date. And also I had to fly back to Holland, and so I really couldn't fit very much in my suitcase. So the things that I really made a beeline to get were probiotics. These are actually really expensive, but they had a buy one get one free offer at the show, and they're Optibag. And I've been taking them for a week since the show, and I've really noticed a difference in the inflammation in my gut. They said that the extra strength ones were recommended for celiacs, and I know that probiotics, I'm not really one for supplements and overdoing the vitamin things unless you have a deficiency, but I know that probiotics are something that is sort of scientifically proven to make a difference to the way that your gut works. So I can recommend these. These are really nice, and they're gluten-free, vegan and vegetarian. Now, just in case you thought the allergy show was all about food, think again. There was a huge cosmetics section, and sort of lifestyle products for those with dust allergies and pet allergies, that sort of thing. And so the other product I bought, yeah, I actually just bought two products at the show, were these great Soulmate. They're massaging insoles, and if anybody has flat feet and has to stand up for an extended period of time, you will know how much pain I was in by the end of the first day. And by the second day, I limped over there and I was like, I don't care how much your insoles are, I need them. These are really great, because as you walk back and forth, there's a gel bit that supports the arch and it massages your arch. So I know it's not to do with gluten-free, but on behalf of flat-footed people everywhere, I would say just buy these. So I just wanted to do a couple of shout outs to some good brands that I met and connected with at the show. Really have to mention Greens first. Throughout the course of the show we were trading dough balls for beer, although I'm not supposed to be telling you that. And I tried for the first time their, which one was it? The blonde, yes. This blonde beer that they had. I've only ever tried the ones that they stock in Pizza Express, which are the premium Pilsner. And I mean, I really like the blonde. So I took a few of their booklets back in the hope that I could try and get some stockists in Holland to import them. So really like Greens beer. I should also mention Celia Lager. I didn't get to come and say hi, but I really wanted to come and support you, because I also really like Celia Lager. The next one I want to mention is Bob's Red Mill. Now, I actually, in a very strange turn of events, ended up going out for dinner with the Bob's Red Mill team and Mr. Bob himself, which was really fun. I was actually very lucky to get a copy of one of these, People Before Profit, which is the story of the founder of Bob's Red Mill, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. I'm going to take it on holiday this year. So I really like their product, and I've got a bag of their bread mix to review as well. And I didn't get any of their really cool postcards actually, but a newcomer on the scene, or is fairly new, is Kabuto Noodles. And they have this whole kind of Japanese warrior thing going on, which is kind of cute for a brand. And they do basically gluten-free pot noodles, so they're rice noodles with, there's a chicken flavour and there's a tofu flavour for the vegetarians. And I was pretty impressed with those. Although they were a little bit salty for my liking, it was definitely the kind of thing that I thought would be great just to have in the cupboard and quick snack, or take to the office, and because you just pour hot water in and wait. So I thought these noodles were really great. Now, one thing I didn't really see at the allergy show was a great deal of newcomers. Obviously, there's a saturation point to every market, but I think it's the kind of thing that works really, really well if you are quite a newcomer to allergy food in general. After a few years of eating gluten-free and, well, if you blog, then doing lots of research on the brands, trying lots of samples, you do get to know the companies quite well and the brands. And so it was a shame that there weren't really many more newcomers or ones that I didn't recognise already. But like I said, that could be a problem related to the cost of having a stall, and it's really expensive. It's like several £100s per square metre, and if you think a square metre is not that big, you'll see how much it actually costs to exhibit at the show. So I would have liked to have a section maybe which was a shared space where people who have really low budgets could have come and shown some of their products, or even just handed out leaflets so I could know that they exist. But overall, the allergy show was a really great success, I think. People were pretty polite on the whole as customers, and it was really great connecting with new brands, with some other gluten-free bloggers, and just generally having a bit of a gluten-free fest. Although it was kind of ironic that you're in this big bubble where everything is gluten-free and people understand, and I went out for dinner at a Japanese restaurant down the road, which you think Japanese restaurant is pretty much the safest thing you can have, right? And I said, do you have an allergy menu? And he goes, oh, what are you allergic to? And as soon as I said gluten, he went into this long launch about how it's the hardest thing to do. And I was sitting there looking like he was telling me off like a naughty child. And I was like, all I want is just some sashimi on top of rice, you know, maybe some pickled vegetables or something. And he was going on and on about how there's gluten in everything because of the soy sauce, and the only thing he can do is the salmon teriyaki. And I was like, but salmon teriyaki has soy sauce in it. And he said, no, plain salmon. And I said, look, can you not just take the soy sauce out of all these dishes? And he goes, oh yes, of course, yes. It was the strangest experience I've ever had, because normally, you know, Japanese restaurants are pretty safe. So it was a very strange reaction, and it just goes to show that there is still so much awareness raising to do, and that's why we need to keep blogging, because there are some people who just don't get it. But in the end, there was a happy ending. I got my sashimi on rice, so there's one tummy that was filled that night. But I think that's a great thing that the allergy show does, is it allows people to come together and kind of plot their next step. I mean, I had so many great conversations with bloggers, bloggers working for producers themselves, and it's a really nice community, a really nice network, and I'm just kind of honoured to be a part of it all, really. So if you haven't been, there's another one in Liverpool, I think in October, and there's also one in Berlin next January, which I'm really going to try and get to because I think that one could be a lot of fun. Other than that, if you're in London, come to the one next year.